Linda, would you like me to introduce the event, or would you like to do it?
Sure, no, go right on ahead.
Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Mary Shell O'Hara. I'm with Catholic Purchasing Services, and we welcome you to the webinar event with Crown Mats. We've got Linda and a couple other Crown folks on the line waiting to present to you some kind of new and innovative things within Crown. And I'm going to turn it over to Linda now, but thank you for joining us.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, goodness. My name is Linda Chedinsky, and I'm with Crown Many Technologies. Today, we're going to talk about why, there's different mats for every application and diving in a little bit deeper on why the different fibers matter and what we can do to combat dirt, debris coming into a building and make sure the building stays clean and safe. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So our slogan is selling the solution one step at a time. If you have sold matting or if you've talked to your matting expert, you'll know that we recommend that anywhere from 15 to 18 feet of matting is a good rule of thumb. So we want to make sure that we are grabbing each step as they walk into the building. Now, I know that you guys specialize in schools and churches, so we're going to talk about that in a little bit, making sure that not only do we have the correct mat for your application, but also we have the correct mat for the people that are coming into the application. So a little bit about Crown. We are Crown Matting and Crown Foam Technologies. We're our sister company, our parent company is Ludlow Composites. But anytime that you deal with Ashton, you'll deal with Crown Matting. However, invoices, those kind of things could come from Ludlow Composites. Brief history about Crown. Next year we are celebrating our 80th year. So to say that we know a little bit about matting is true. And I say that Ohio is the perfect place to have a matting manufacturer because we truly have every element that your matting is going to face. We have dry, dusty weather. We have rainy, wet weather. We have the wet season in general. We have the muddy season. And of course we have snow, ice melt, and everything that comes with that in the winter season. So when it comes to Crown Matting Technologies, we only sell mats. And I say it that way because sometimes when you deal with other companies, they sell matting, they sell safety glasses, they sell all these different things in between. Crown specializes and focuses on the matting industry. Now within our mats, we have indoor mats, we have outdoor, promotional, specialty, industrial, and even dog agility matting that are specially coded for the dog agility programs. When you think of Crown Matting, you have a whole team to support you and as well as your outside local manufacturing rep. So why do we need a 3-mat system? What does it do? What does matting truly do? Much to anybody's surprise, matting does serve a function. It has a purpose. It's not just there to look pretty. It's there to keep the building safe. It's there to keep the building clean. And of course, first impressions are lasting impressions. So up on the screen is some of our quick little tidbits of facts that I think are great to know, great to have information on hand. Often you'll hear us talk about a 3-mat system with that 15 to 18 foot. You can make sure that you're preventing dirt and debris from even entering in the building to have your outdoor matting. And of course, we want to make sure that the entranceway of the building is nice and clean. So the rule of thumb is within the first 20 feet of entering a building, that's where all the dirt, debris, and gunk builds up. Having proper matting in place is going to prevent that. So when we talk about different zones and different matting styles, everybody knows or should know, you have your outdoor matting, which is going to be your non-absorbent. You have your indoor matting, which can be a wiper scraper. And then your final step is just a wiper. So I like to have data. I like to have supporting documentation, supporting facts, and live demos to demonstrate. When you think of matting, it's not really something that you can show, maybe a floor cleaner or a buffer, those type of things. So we came up with a couple different live demos. So the one that I'm going to show you today is our sand demo. And the reason I think this is really good is because commonly on the market, you see the high-low pattern, the waffle style. Every matting manufacturer company has it. Crown has it, just about everyone else in the market. This is something that everyone has seen at one point in their life. It's the waffle pattern, it's the high-low, and it's a great scraper mat. You can use these outdoors, you can use these indoors. However, used outdoors, the fibers would get saturated, but we've seen them a lot of times in that application. The competing mat that I'm going to have it against is our Oxford Elite. So our Oxford Elite is still a scraper wiper. It is an indoor only product. It is made with our signature thermal grip backing. So Crown Matting Technologies has 5 products that has the thermal grip backing. And what the thermal grip backing is, it's a blend of nitrile rubber and vinyl. So what this means is going to be strong and flexible. It has antimicrobial properties built into it due to the nitrile rubber. And best feature about it, I feel, is it's going to prohibit the growth of mold and mildew. We've all lifted up those mats that aren't the greatest looking underneath. It doesn't really feel appeasing to the hand. And the number 1 selling point is it doesn't yellow the floor. Especially in churches and schools, we often have lifted up those mats and we've seen the yellowing on their beautiful floor. The thermal grip does not do any yellowing, so I think that's a really good selling point. Now, when we look at the Oxford Elite, it is a loop pile style scraper wiper. So when you look at the waffle pattern, it's the high-low pattern. How this is made is this is molded into place to have that rigid high-low pattern. The loop pile is just like your everyday sweater that you'd wear in the wintertime. It's looped back and forth throughout the whole run of the mat. But the cool thing is it gives us those little cavities to really grab the dirt and debris. So make sure my room is set up here. So I have beautiful Crown blue sand that we're going to use to demonstrate our dirt and debris today. What's going to happen is I'm going to sprinkle it on both of the samples, and we're going to do a test to see how well does it really grab and retain that dirt and debris. That's what we want matting to do. We want it to hold it, we want it to grab it. We don't want it to be able to kick around the building. So I'm going to sprinkle my sand. And of course, right away, you're going to see that some of the sand starts to fall into the wells of the high-low pattern. And essentially, that's what the big selling point is. It's already not having on the top surface. So we're going to rub my hands on it, just like if you were walking in and out of the building. And you can see that it does do an excellent job of moving the dirt and debris into the wells. So now it's not laying on top of the mat. The problem is, as people walk to a building, especially a school or a church, that dirt and debris is going to build up and build up and build up. So while it's being held in the wells of the mat, it's not being really held by the mat. As you can see, the dirt and debris is going to fall right out. Some of it's retained, but most of it's going to get kicked throughout your whole building as the dirt and debris is still sitting on top of the mat. Versus when you have something in your facility, such as the loop pile. And typically when I do this, people say right away, they start to comment, but Linda, it's just sitting on top of the mat. Well, the good thing is most of us from a very young age have been taught to wipe our feet before we enter into a building. So yes, the dirt and debris is dumped onto the mat, but as I wipe my hand on it, like as if I was wiping a shoe, you're going to see quickly that the dirt and debris is pulled into the mat. So what does this mean? This means that it's not going to get kicked throughout your building. So the loops hold and attract the dirt. It carries into the base of the mat until it's time to do some light everyday sweeping or every other day, depending on your facility's traffic flow. This is what matting is supposed to do. Matting is supposed to hold on to that dirt and debris. It's supposed to keep your building clean, preventing it from getting kicked around. And it's not supposed to let anything go until it's time for a good cleaning. So even when I knock it down, you'll see that it still does a great job of holding in that dirt and debris. It locks it into that looping fibers. Now, my next question is usually, okay, Linda, if it really does that great job of locking in the dirt and debris into the loops, it's gotta be hard to clean. The good thing about a loop pile or a wiper cut pile is your vacuum cleaner still gets that great suction from when it's cleaning because it doesn't have that high-low pattern. If anyone's ever dealt with a high-low pattern, whether it's the waffle style, the diamond style, we have a chevron style, herringbone, it's very hard to clean. You got to go every which way because your sweeper doesn't really get a good section on the matting. Where on the loop pile, it's going to suck down to it and pull it all in, and everything will come up just with a gentle sweeping like it normally would. So let's talk about schools and churches and different styles of matting to put in place. So we want to have our outdoor scraper mat. And if anyone has ever talked to me on the phone, or, Ashton or anyone has heard me here, my story is often Grandma Betty with her church heels on. When we think about matting into a church building, let's think about Grandma Betty with her church heels on. Maybe Grandma Betty has a cane, maybe she has a walker, she might even be in a wheelchair, but she's going to have them church heels on. We want to make sure that we're picking matting that's going to be acceptable for everybody that's walking over it. The rubber fingertip matting is a very big seller in many churches and schools. However, with those active fibers, sometimes it's not the easiest to maneuver over it. We have a couple different products that we can look at for outdoor matting. We have a molded crown tread, a rubber-based SBR rubber. We have our Jasper. We have our commercial clean machine. Those three items, I think, are the top sellers. They come in standard 3x5s, 4x6 sizes. As you walk into the building, it's always great to have that scraper wiper. That's going to be the second line of defense. That's going to get to the dirt and debris that didn't get caught off doors. It's going to start the moisture absorbing process. Because remember, our outdoor mat, we don't want it to be fiber absorbent. We just want it to do scraping. Not until we walk into the building do we want to start absorbing different moistures off of our shoes. So after the scraper wiper, the final step will be the wiper mat. The wiper mat usually has no scraping action to it, and it just absorbs those final droplets of moisture. The reason we want to make sure that our shoes are nice and dry is we don't want to drag them throughout the building. When we think about matting, and especially when we think about different companies that rent, believe it or not, I know a lot of schools and a lot of churches, they will service through a rental program because they think that they're getting the most, the best mat for the application. The trouble with rental matting is that it has tiny pinholes in it to help dry faster, because after all, they do launder those mats. And you never know where the mats have been before they've been in that application. So that gets a little sketchy there. But if you walk into a facility and they have down rental mats, and especially on a rainy day, they're a very low count fiber, which means they're going to be oversaturated very quickly, and they're not going to do a good job of retaining and holding that moisture and keeping the liquid off the floors, and that is going to cause a slip, trip, and fall hazard. I often say when you go to an application and you see a yellow floor sign, especially near the entrance, I would definitely take a look at their matting program. It's more than likely very inadequate. It's either they have lower grade matting in a high grade facility, or they don't have enough matting. They don't have that 15 to 18 foot rule of matting in place. So when you talk about schools and you talk about churches, more times than not, they do come over on a bid. And if you're in this industry, especially with schools and education, you know that sometimes it's a race to the bottom to see the most economical product in there because the school doesn't have a lot of funds. My biggest selling point into schools is not the items that are on the bid, it's the items outside of the bid. It's adding a logo mat at their entrance. schools and churches love to promote branding. It's having matting that's in the food safety area, whether it's in the school's kitchen or the church's little kitchen. It's matting that can go into the gymnasium to make sure that on special events, it's matting to run down the aisleway for church's special events. So when you are dealing with those kind of applications, I really think it's good to look outside of the box. We do have special bid pricing for both schools and churches. So I think that's also something to always keep in mind, that we do specially bid opportunities for both of those applications. The other thing that you guys have as a resource to you, reach out to Ashton anytime you need any sort of marketing material, any flyers created. We're more than willing to help out with that. We do have verticals already created for both schools and for churches, you know, parish halls and educational services. We have all of that already created that we can help personalize and add your logo to it. Crown is unique in when we tell our distributors that you don't necessarily have to stock our product. We drop ship on your behalf anywhere in the country. So I think that's a really cool special feature that we do offer. And let me share my screen real quick one more time. Give me just 1 second here. I believe Ashton was sending me an updated wheel. All right.
Is it not open
Is
yet?
it,
Linda?
can you guys hang on one? Let's try this again. Did the wheel pull up, Ashton?
I don't see, no. Oh. Yeah. It's up now.
All right. Okay. All right. So what is this beautiful, colorful wheel? Hopefully everyone's on here that pre-registered. So something we like to do, because I believe personally that you can't sell a product you don't know. And what's the best way for you to know that our mats are superior than having a mat of your own to use? So we're going to spin the wheel 3 times today, and we'll have 3 different winners. Those 3 winners will receive a free mat from Crown Matting Technologies for you guys to use in your own home, for you guys to give out to a customer, for you to keep in your car as samples, whichever you prefer. So if your name is chosen, please get in touch with your representative at Catholic Purchasing with your name and address to where Ashton can ship your mat. So, and I've only had this happen once where it landed on the same person twice, so hopefully it doesn't do that. All right. Our first winner is Alan. I can see him clapping, so he must be very happy. All right. Oh, so close, Travis. All right, and last winner. Judy. All right, wonderful. All right, guys, so we have a couple more minutes till the end of our call, end of our training today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned a couple different little tips and tricks on selling different kind of matting and why different styles and different fibers matter. And the PowerPoint that I had up today, Ashton has availability to send out to Catholic Purchasing, so you guys can all have that for your own, resource and tools to pull that information out. And I would say go ahead and unmute yourself if anyone has any questions.
Hey, Linda, I just want to clarify that we have a mix online here today. So we do have some customers on, yes, viewing this. So as a matter of fact, all customers won the mats.
Oh,
So
awesome.
this is a blend of a training for our, internal groups and also customers. So customers, if you have any specific questions, please feel free to ask Linda now, or my recommendation would be to get in touch with Catholic Purchasing and, let us kind of help you determine what you need, and we can work with Crown to get you an estimate and freight quote and all that kind of stuff for your project.
Absolutely. Any customers on here have any matting issues currently? Those are usually my favorite to knock out. Anybody have any mats that move around, any rippling, tearing? Any ADA compliant issues with anybody on the call?
I have a question, Ashton.
Sure.
My question is, so from a customer service standpoint, and I just heard Ashton say, do we just go to her as far as coordinating what it looks like? I mean, all these different levels, entryway, if we want a logo on it, like, how do I know what exactly I need in all these? I'm in a school, and what I need in all these different locations, or how does that coordination work with Crown to make sure I'm selecting the correct thing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the great thing to start off with is get in touch with your local Catholic Purchasing rep, and they will work with Ashton. So we already have some pre-made verticals that we can email out to you that we recommend. These mats go in this application, and often the areas that are sometimes overlooked, like the cook line, like if you guys have a swimming pool area or the locker rooms, even as much as if you have a football team and they have to walk across the track, those cleats, tearing up the track, we have matting that can go down there. But I think that would be the great first place to start out with. And depending on the size of the opportunity, we have a local manufacturing rep that can also team up with Catholic Purchasing to come out and do a site survey. So we have a form that they'll go through and figure out. They'll check door clearance, they'll do site measuring, and we'll compile all that information and then work up the quote for you. Oh, okay. And then as far as image mats as well, as long as you have your school logo, you can send that into them and we can work you up proofs as well.
And there's certain types of mats that the image can go on?
So our matting is unique in when we do image matting, it is just like a white piece of paper that we put through a printer. So when you're looking at different sample styles, we do have a sample piece we can send out to you, but it is a white nylon fiber that we dye from tip to tip. So it is a little bit different than, say, like our Reline olefin that, is just a standard polypropylene fiber.
Okay.
But there is specific mats just because they're the white fibers that we do color. But we do have samples that we can send out so you can feel the texture of those.
Okay, thank you.
And Alan, this is Mary. I might just add that our website has some information on that. We have a transactional side of the website, which has the best sellers for Crown that you can look at and purchase right away. But if you're looking for more in-depth information, you can go out to the area of our website, which is the Renovation Hub, and under Crown Matting, you can see they've done a really good job helping us set up this information where you can see the different types of mats that are in that three-step system. And there's a lot of resources out there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I do have to say, from a manufacturing standpoint, Catholic Purchasing is excellent to work with. I've been with Crown for going on 5 years, and their team is phenomenal. And you guys have one of the top manufacturing rep groups out there as well. So you're definitely in good hands when it comes to them. And Ashton, she's amazing.
I had a question.
I have a question.
As it relates to shredded rubber that we have on our playground,
Okay.
and when the kids come in, it spreads. What's the best kind of mat for that situation?
So depending on your door clearance, I strongly would recommend commercial clean machine on the outside of the building. My son's in second grade. I know exactly the type of rubber that you're talking about. And it never fails. He'll have it in his shoes and his pockets when it comes home. The commercial clean machine is a thicker AstroTurf. It has a great ADA compliant edging around. It's a fantastic outdoor mat, and it's really going to do a great job of capturing it and holding it in. And cleaning wise, what you'll do is, once a month or so, you'll just pick it up, shake it out, and all the dirt and debris will fall out of it. We actually use it in our own facility year round here because we have mulch and stuff, and then of course the winter season, but commercial clean machine all the way for that style.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Couple more minutes, don't be shy. So do we have a mix of just schools, or do I have some church people on here with my grandma Betty?
We're school.
Yes,
Schools,
we're school and churches as well.
school and churches as well. I will tell you, so my own pastor, I gave her one of our anti-fatigue matting, and she is a woman who loves heels. And so what I did for her is we have a product called Slate, and it's great for in her pulpit because it's puncture resistant. She's going to still have those anti-fatigue properties, but I did tease her a little bit. If she was going to stand on it, doesn't mean the sermon has to go any longer. But as you're thinking about churches and entrance matting, that's always a good seller to add on, is a little 2x3 that fits up there to give them support when they're up, in front of the congregation. So I seen something come across about camps. I attended many camps growing up, 4-H camp mostly, and I know that our mess halls were concrete when we went into the buildings. So that's always a great place to have, make sure you have that wiper, especially on rainy, muddy days, to keep the facility clean. And then I also know, camps have a lot of locker rooms and bathrooms and shower changing stalls. We can always do matting in those facilities. We have our spaghetti mat that can be cut to size, and it's also antimicrobial. So it's an excellent condition to put in locker rooms and that sort of thing at camps.
Linda, we're working with a very large camp out here on the East Coast. We're using Super Berber. They're logoing most of their mats that fit the right size. So, we think that's an excellent mat. They love it. They love the look of it. Yeah, it's great.
And I will say logo mats are very, very good to use. I mean, who doesn't like to have that self-branding and that first impression as people that walk in the door? And our Super Berber inlay is by far the most superior logo mat. It's excellent quality. It's got the longest life. And I really think it's one of those products that when you look at it, it's just beautiful. It's a work of art. They're all hand done. It's really an incredible team from our sister plant up in Canada. They do an excellent job with it. And, all of our products have our warranty on them, and we really do stand behind them. So if there's ever any issues, we have that for you guys.
Linda, one last thing maybe to mention for folks to keep in mind when they're thinking about a project or just ordering one-off mats is lead time, and, how it differs between the logo and just regular mats and large orders versus small orders. Right now, your current lead times, most in-stock regular size mats are shipping out pretty quickly, correct?
Yes, so we stand behind having our stock sizes in inventory. Turnaround times usually about 2 days roughly, but we can get things turned around in 24 hours if it's a rushed opportunity. But anytime we get into the custom cuts or the image mats, it could be a little bit longer. And then, of course, before we know it, the snow is going to be flying for matting season. So that can bump out some of our lead times depending on the weather.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with me. I hope this was fun and entertaining and a little bit of information. And if you guys have any questions, please, 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 you have great resources. And I can't wait to put our matting in your facility to help keep it safe and clean. And most of all, just have that lasting impression for your building. We'll talk to you guys all soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda, and
Thank
thanks to
you.
the whole Crown team for joining us. Thanks for all our customers and staff too. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Have a great week.
Bye, guys.